Yesterday evening, several vehicles in a pub, the Clumsy Swan in Yardley, were attacked by a group of young Muslims. Some of the group, who'd been part of a wider demonstration before breaking away, were wearing masks and carrying weapons. Reporters from Sky News were threatened and their vehicle was attacked. Ayoub Khan is the Independent MP for Birmingham Bar, and we can speak to him now. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Yasmin.
What is your understanding? We really want to try to understand what went on in Birmingham last night. Some the nub of it, the crux of it, seems to be that there were false rumours that there was going to be a far right protest or gathering, whatever you want to call it, there, and therefore a group of Muslim men went out to either confront or defend, whatever you want to say. But it ended up just being them clashing with police.
I think that's one of the downsides of social media when you have misinformation spread instantaneously. There were a series of messages. I received hundreds from concerned residents, claiming that EDL and far-right extremists were going to be marching within inner city areas. And that would naturally have a reaction from the local community, where many Muslims, but also non-Muslims, congregated around religious institutions in order to defend property and individuals and communities. And so it began in a very a form of solidarity, if you like. But obviously you will have fringes which take matters into their own hands. A lot of politicians, community leaders were out informing residents to remain calm but remain vigilant. But it's the inevitability of young people congregating, where you have a minority which will do things in their own way.
It's disappointing, though, isn't it? As you say, because if people are congregating to protect and to say, leave our community alone, no one's going to have an issue with that. But if, a minority of the people who gathered are attacking vehicles and a pub, wearing masks, carrying weapons, threatening reporters, etc., that is disappointing, isn't it?
Well, it naturally will be disappointing, but we can't. I mean, with any community, when you look at what's happened up and down the country, for example, in Middlesbrough, where residential streets and property and vehicles were attacked, you're going to get this reaction. Make no mistake about it. People will come out in large numbers, and you're not going to be able to control young men, especially, which are upset, angry when you see some of the scenes play out. That's going to be a natural reaction. And of course, all we can do as political leaders, as community leaders, is to urge restraint. But unfortunately, this is a natural reaction.
I mean, not everyone will agree that it's a natural reaction, actually, because it's a minority of people kind of, committing crimes, and they are being thugs, aren't they? And we kind of need there to be fewer thugs.
Well, I don't disagree with that. When I say a natural reaction of young men, which are on the fringes of a larger community, which is therefore just one. I suppose it's a difficult scenario, because you've got the vast majority, as you say, which are there peacefully protecting their property, and you have young men which break away. And when I say a natural reaction by these young men, it's a natural reaction for them, but it's obviously something that we don't condone in any shape, way, or form. But you can see why it's being played out in the way it has. When you see the stoking up of tension, the bigotry, the racism, the Islamophobic attitude, it's created a lot of tension.
What can you do to try to take the heat out of that tension? Because again, it is understandable on one level that people are feeling a bit shaky, that people are worried for their property and their communities. But do you need to speak to some of these kind of groups of young men? I don't know how you access them, really. Do you need to kind of speak to them and tell them
Well,
to try to calm it?
Well, we're doing our best. I think all community representatives have a responsibility, and whether that's through social media, whether that's going down to locations in person, and that's what I did yesterday to speak to young people. That's all we can do.
What did you say to them?
Well, to exercise restraint, and that this was a hoax, that people should disperse. There's nothing happening here, and so those are the sort of things that you can do as an individual. Beyond that, I would encourage, the police, for example. We need more police on the streets. I mean, when I went there, there was very little presence of police, and I think police presence is important to reassure the community. So these are some of the things that I would urge West Midlands Police. We've got other social media messages flying around saying that there was going to be further protests. I mean, these are not protests at all. I mean, we all seen what took place. I mean, these are hate marches and nothing short of that. But there needs to be police presence, I think, immediate police presence when misinformation gets sent out on social media and various locations identified. I think there needs to be an immediate reaction by the police to arrive in these locations to reassure the community. And when I attended yesterday, I saw, as I think some of your reporters, which were there, hundreds of young men, but very little police presence.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully nothing further happens tonight. That's Ayoub Khan, who's the Independent MP for Birmingham Perry-Barr.
That very little presence of police, though, gets to the heart of what some people, you're seeing it on text now, this question of, if people have put masks on, acted in a threatening fashion, carried weapons, attacked someone, they should be nicked. And if they weren't nicked because there were no police there, and they've seen other people being arrested in other protests, that is why people talk about two-tier policing.
But don't you think that there was no police presence because presumably the police somehow worked out that these were false rumours, so they didn't feel that there was a need to, whereas in somewhere like Plymouth, they saw it actually happening.
It was false rumours of the far-right march, but it wasn't false rumours that these people were gathering together and there was trouble. I mean, trouble happened. People were attacked, it seems. And we saw what happened to the Sky News reports. That people were behaving in a threatening fashion. And the question is, do people not need to be arrested? And if there's no police there, they can't arrest them. If you have a country where people are making these claims about two-tier policing, we just had Heidi Alexander on saying there's no such thing as two-tier policing. It's very striking that people weren't there to arrest them. I think that's what winds people up a little bit, rightly or wrongly.